The beginning of the school year is full of exciting opportunities, including learning new things and meeting new classmates. Sharing insight about ourselves and learning about others helps build an inclusive school community. For this activity, you will create a colorful name card just like this. To make your own, you will need paper, markers, scissors, and colored pencils. Our first step to make our name cards is, of course, writing out our name. I'm going to do bubble letters, but you do whatever font that you guys find to be your favorite. So I'm taking my pencil and I'm just going to lightly sketch my name across my paper. Ready for a creativity tip? Now that we have our name sketched out for step 1, step 2 will be picking your favorite shapes or patterns and filling in your name with those. The fun part about this is that you can pick whichever pattern that you feel like represents you. With this being a name card, this is going to represent your personality, your favorite colors, and so much more about yourself. For this next step, we're going to add some personality by picking our favorite colors and adding them to our name cards. And for our last step, we're just going to be outlining our letters with a black marker to make it nice and bold. Then, when you're finished and you have your letters outlined, you're just going to draw a shape around your letters. And when you're finished, you'll just cut it out and then you'll have your name card.
When we work and play, our brains are busy learning and developing skills. It is important to balance our busy days with quiet time so we can refresh our energy.
Let's each make a scene that reminds us of the importance of being active and relaxing. You will need a recycled small cardboard box, colorful paper, washable markers, scissors, tape or glue, model magic, firm poster board, cardboard, or a large sheet of paper, found objects, stones, twigs, cotton balls, fabric scraps.
Create. I'm going to create my quiet place in this box. Then we can draw busy activities that we enjoy around it.
I'm sketching where my busy experiences happen. A soccer field, a playground, and a grocery store.
I'm making a cozy couch where I can rest with a favorite book and pictures of nature that make me feel calm.
Present.
I like sharing ideas when I'm still working on a project to hear what others think. Can I present my work to you now, even though I'm not done yet?
Yes, that's a great idea. I'll look at your art carefully, tell you what I see and what I think it means. Respond. Wow, that looks so cozy. I love that you have a sign welcoming others to enter calmly. Did you use blue paper on the walls because it's a calming color?
Yes, I used calming, cool colors, purple, blue, and green. Did you notice the headphones? I like to listen to calm music and nature sounds.
That's awesome. Now look at my artwork and tell me what you see.
Connect. Wherever we are, we can enjoy calming experiences like reading a book, observing nature, and listening to soothing music.
Focusing on what helps you calm down is part of getting to know yourself better, so you can manage your pace in any place.
Starfish breathing is one of my favorite techniques. In this technique, we're teaching deep breathing skills and using the image of a sea creature. The beauty of doing starfish breathing is that we use the starfish to help us know when to breathe in and when to breathe out. So let's practice this here together. First, starting at the very bottom of the first leg, we take a deep breath in. When we got to the top here, we exhale on the bottom on the way down. Deep breath in and exhale down the leg. Inhale and exhale. You can see very simply we're using each of the legs of the starfish to teach us. We're doing a deep breath in and a breath out. Now, this is a great activity to do at home or even as a classroom activity. Giving kids a chance to practice doing this together gives them the sense that doing deep breathing is something that we can all expect to do to self-regulate. It is not just something we do when we're having problems. In addition, we can do some really cool things with them. One of my favorite projects is that someone did this art project with me, where they did their own starfish. Yes, it looks like a hand tube, but we call it a starfish. And did all kinds of interesting decorations. Words like relax and focus and breathe are all there, so when you do the breathing activity, you not only have the image to trace with your hand, but you also have instructions on the page. This is a great activity to color and do with your kids. If they do something really simple like I did, that's completely okay. But learning this skill can be really helpful for learning how to regulate and relax. Another strategy that can be really great for starting the school year is giving your kids access to some really specific things they can use in class. One of my favorite strategies is something that we call the break card. Okay, a break card is something that a child can use by putting on their desk that shows that they need to stop doing the activity to do some self-regulation. Now, this is really helpful because a lot of our kids may be shy. They don't want to say I'm struggling or that something isn't going well. One great teacher tip here is if you want to give your kids an opportunity to create this as a group, let all of your kids have the opportunity to create their own break card that can be kept somewhere around their desk. So if they're feeling stressed, they can set it on the edge of the desk. If you spot it, you know that they're doing a skill or activity. For a lot of kids, this can be super helpful if you're a parent and getting your child ready for school. Sending your child in with a break card already and a brief note for the teacher can give them a great opportunity to use their skills and to not have to worry about looking different. One of my favorite hacks to this is that the break card is great, especially if your kid is shy. Another side of this is to put help. Lots and lots of kids, particularly me when I was young, were really embarrassed to raise my hand in class. So if your child is able to put this on their desk and not single themselves out, their teacher might be able to come over and say, this child needs some help. Doing this in a subtle way can be really great for kids who might be a little nervous or anxious when they get ready to go back to school.
The beginning of the school year is the perfect time to be intentional and make creative movement part of the daily routine. Jacqueline, can you please show us some simple movements that can wake up our bodies and get the blood flowing?
So teachers can engage students in stand if. Students can create a shape for each response and then stand when they hear the answer they believe is the correct response in the pre-designated shape they have created with their bodies. So I'm going to scoot back and show you an example here. So teachers can call out and say, stand in a certain shape if you believe the response is A. So for instance, students may have created a shape, a very simple one like this. This could mean A. So if a student believes that the correct response is A, they would stand from their desk when the teacher says, stand if you believe the response is A. There may be a different response for B, and for C, and for D. These simple movements allow students to review and engage physically with their body. Another movement for response is a wonderful game that can be called Scoot. Okay, Scoot is awesome. Scoot really basically has students move from desk to desk to answer questions in a rapid fire content review style. So a movement-based game like Scoot is a whole class activity where students move around the classroom, typically from desk to desk or table to table, completing tasks or answering questions at each station, so to speak. It is a form of active learning that breaks from traditional seated instruction that we know can cause students to check out or just be disengaged or become bored or not really absorbing all of that information you're trying to give them. Instead, it is an active form of learning that breaks from this traditional seated instruction and can be used for a wide range of content areas from math to language arts and beyond. Here's how it generally works. So teachers will prepare numbered task cards with questions or problems that are related to the subject or content being taught. The task cards are placed around the classroom on desks and tables. Students start at a designated table or desk. They read the task card and answer the question or a corresponding numbered recording sheet. When the teacher says scoot, students will physically move to the next desk or numbered station, leaving their task card in place and taking their recording sheet for the answers with them. This continues until students have completed all of the task cards and time is up. After the game, teachers can review the answers with the class. This activity gets students moving around the room, improving a sense of community in the classroom, and improving their engagement and focus.
Physical activity helps our brains work. That's why creative movement and sketching are natural ways to learn about STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. In this activity, you will explore outdoors to observe natural and human-made machine movement patterns. Then present your sketches and discuss the STEAM concepts of energy, force, motion, and systems. You will need colored pencils, crayons, sketch paper, a clipboard or a firm surface. Respond. Let's explore energy by observing things that move, such as wind, clouds, swings, cars, and people. How are each of these moving? Fast or slow? Smoothly or rough? On the ground or in the air? Create. A group of friends will form pairs of movers and sketchers. One person imagines being the wind, clouds, swings, and so on, and creates those body movements. The other person sketches their partner's movements, showing many shapes and positions as movements change. In a few minutes, switch roles so everyone can explore moving and sketching. Present. As pairs present their sketches, discuss the movements using science and art words, such as energy, balance, space, motion, observe, show, natural and human-made. Connect. Energy is a force that causes motion. We can see it everywhere and show it in the ways we dance and draw. Use art and creative movement to represent other STEAM ideas, such as tinker, find, grow, and rotate. STEAM is everywhere. We can use our bodies and art to understand big ideas and show what we are thinking.
The illustrations in Detective Duck show animals working together to gather clues. Please show us how you create a team of animals or people who collaborate as a detective team.
Everything's comprised of very basic shapes, and I think we're all well aware of simple shapes that we can all relate to, like a simple circle, like so. These are the building blocks to make characters that we can identify with. The body of a duck perhaps might be the letter D. That's a shape that we're all familiar with, right? Now, Henry and Lynn, they gave me these wonderfully descriptive, detailed things about the characters. I know that the duck has a nice little tiny bow attached to her head. You have to be mindful of making her big and fluffy. We have these little wings from the little chick duck body. And then these tiny webbed feet. I'm just doing a light sketch of how I want the character to look. Honestly, one of my favorite things to draw are animals. So there's a quick drawing of our little heroine here. And if I were to draw another character from the book, we could draw the dragonfly, which is very simple. Dragonfly has these big giant eyes, and I use these very simplistic symbols. I had to give the dragonfly a mouth, so I just used the letter D there. So you can see a little dragonfly face. And then the dragonfly has a very long body that's segmented, like so. See that? And then these tiny dragonfly legs. And then I actually give them, I give these kind of human arm type limbs. I'm just gonna give you a thumbs up here. And the big giant wings, and because the wings are flapping, we're gonna create some motion lines, and then we'll take our next color here and we'll just, again, go over our little simple sketch. I've been drawing for most of my life. I'm 49 years old, and there wasn't a day I wasn't drawing. And I like to say that drawing's like riding a bicycle. When you were born, you didn't know how to ride a bicycle, but you practiced a little bit every day, you got a lot better. And I was just someone who just rode that bicycle every day. And I think I'm convinced that if there's anybody out there that wants to draw anything they want, it is possible. You just have to put in the time. And so here we have two of our main characters. Let me color in our little duck friend here with the, let's see, a nice yellow, maybe a little orange, and then the red bow. Surrounded by a nice blue sky. So, one thing I implore all of you is that if you draw something, understand that we all do things differently, and that if yours looks different, you should embrace it because it's what makes it unique. And here we have two friends who are protecting their pond and taking no guff from those who threaten their environment.
I love using art as a form of meditation. So I'm going to take my pencils, and on my drawing, I am going to write a couple of words. Let's see here. And this can be used as like an affirmation kind of activity. So not only are you able to create this special place, but also putting it into action. Whatever that you feel that you want to be better, or maybe something you have to just remind yourself about, you can write it down. So I'm going to write just a few words here on my sheet. And here we go. So I wrote, I am strong, I am creative, I am joyful. It's so fun to be able to really create something that you can imagine or that you can feel. You can use those moments of mindfulness, if you would. And mindfulness is a super, super big part of yoga. Mindfulness can be used as you're walking outside and you just close your eyes for a moment. Think about how you feel as you're walking. Even when you're sitting at your desk, thinking about how it feels to be back in the classroom, how excited the kids are going to be for you to be their new teacher, and all those emotions that's going to happen throughout the year. But giving them a chance to use that imagination outside of their regular norm is so super, super important.
Making mistakes is part of being human. When we figure out what went wrong, we learn how to solve future problems and improve our skills. In this activity, you will interview an elder, then create an illustrated postcard helping people to grow. You will need colored pencils, markers, paper, a postcard. Connect. Did you ever make a mistake? Of course, everybody does. How people connect mistakes with opportunities to learn is called mindset. Having a growth mindset means we are open to learning from our mistakes and eager to improve. Present. An elder is someone who is older than you and has had more experience, like a teacher, community leader, or grandparent. They can teach us a lot about making the best of mistakes. Make a list of questions you will present to an elder. You decide what questions you want to ask. Some ideas could be, do you remember a mistake that helped you learn? Why is accepting mistakes important? What happens if people are afraid of making mistakes? Respond. During the interview, capture the responses by listening closely, writing notes, and sketching ideas that represent what was learned from the mistake. Create. After the interview, create a postcard that shows what you learned. On the front, draw a sketch about a mistake. On the back, write the main idea about what was learned from the story. Add the address of the person you will send it to. You could mail it to the elder as a thank you, or send it to yourself as a reminder of what you learned. If we are too afraid of making mistakes, we don't try new things. But when we learn from our mistakes, we develop better problem-solving skills and a strong growth mindset.
Kindness can be shown or expressed in many ways. Whether you pick up groceries for an elderly neighbor or write a handwritten note, modeling kindness can positively impact others. In fact, showing acts of kindness can boost your mood and well-being. How can you show kindness today? For this activity, you will create a kindness flower. You will need Model Magic, a note card, and markers. First, divide your Model Magic into 8 small pieces of similar sizes. Use your hand to roll the Model Magic into a ball and flatten like flower petals. Repeat this step for every piece. Next, connect the Model Magic petals side by side, slightly overlapping each piece. Ready for a creativity tip? Begin rolling the Model Magic petals at a slight angle. Notice that it begins to take shape of a flower. Adjust the petals as needed. Let the Model Magic rest for at least 24 to 48 hours to air dry. Use the markers and note card to write a special message.
When children draw upon their strengths, they see the many ways their skills and personality shine. In this activity, children will create illustrations that show how they interact with others. Showing their best self in many situations helps develop self-awareness and confidence. You will need triangular crayons, a paper pad, multicultural markers, and ultra-clean washable markers in classic colors. Create the Best of Me posters by labeling 4 pieces of paper with 4 headings. Children can help decide on the settings. Where do they interact with others? Perhaps 1, the best of me at home. 2, the best of me at school. 3, the best of me with family. And 4, the best of me with friends. On each page, children will sketch ways they're special and how they interact with others in their world. Present. Next, children share their art with family and friends. Encourage them to talk about what inspired these drawings and how the pictures were created. Respond. Ask children how the drawings can be organized into stories. Stories can be real or imaginary. Sharing stories about ourselves deepens understanding of social and emotional skills that influence relationships with others.